Hey everybody, good morning. It's the Marne Morning Show. It's Friday, 10 a.m. I'm so excited because I have Annette Manius here with me. And this is a topic that I'm really interested in because I've had many businesses in my life. And if I had Annette's help, I would probably be a lot richer and a lot well off. And so Annette is here from us for us for Hellbent to Sell. And so Annette, just give us tell us what you do.
Great. Thanks, Marty. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. My name is Annette Manius, and I help businesses with preparing for transition or succession. So I sold a business. I had a business for 31 years, and I sold it to 3 people that worked for me. And the things that I learned during that process were just things that I learned the hard way. So I decided to create a course that will help people like me that want to sell their business step by step. How do you prepare for that sale?
Right. So let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of dial it back a little bit. How many people did you have in your company? What kind of company was it? Like, what did you do? How did you grow it? Just take us a little bit back to the beginning. How did it start?
Perfect. Yes, when I was younger, I worked for a CPA firm locally, and I loved accounting. And I also realized that I liked technology as well. So I went out on my own. I worked for the CPA firm for a couple of years, and then went out on my own and I started to resell software, accounting software. So specifically for accounting businesses. And at the time, my brother was in sales and marketing, and he came in with me. So I was the technical piece. He was the sales and marketing.
Sales guy. Yeah. Okay.
So fast forward that. So we grew it, just organically grew it. And then along the way, we bought a couple other businesses and things and added to our portfolio. He retired in 2007.
Oh.
And I bought the business from him.
Okay.
And, so I was his succession plan.
I know that you do succession planning. So how long were you planning to retire? Was that in mind in 2007 when you took over the business, or what was that pathway like for you?
Yes. So when I bought my brother out, I thought, okay, what's my succession plan? I don't have children. What's my plan going to be? So, like any good software implementation, we start with the end in mind. And I said, okay, where do I want to be? I wasn't sure what the year was going to be, but I knew what I wanted was that I would be able to look back and say, I started this and they are still a going concern. So that legacy has always been my
legacy piece of it. The legacy piece.
Yes.
So what is the difference between like the person that we're talking about that says, I want to build a legacy versus somebody that says, I just want to be done with this thing. I want out. I don't care about the legacy. Like, is that a different person? Tell me more about that.
Yes, that's a really good question. It is a different person because for me to build my legacy, I was going to have to sell it to someone inside the business.
Yes.
Versus I had a lot of offers from people that were, in the business, competitors, or even firms that buy businesses. So that I would not maintain necessarily my legacy because I would have no control over that.
Right.
So that is why I made the choice to go down the path that I did.
So why legacy? Like, why was that important to you?
I had started the business. When you're a founder of a business, it's like having kids.
Yeah.
Right. You want to see them grow up and succeed. And for me, that's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to, have that piece.
Interesting because you don't know what you know because you already know it. So it's only when you get into a position where you assume that people know things about our business, employees that we hire. And this is, I think, a really important point, and where people can learn from you is that the training and the management of people. I think that a lot of us believe that when we hire people in, for a particular role, they should already know the things. And so I find that is a difficult spot for me when I'm hiring people within my own organization. The actual training part, especially when you're so busy and it's hard to train and manage people. Do you have any advice for me in that?
Having employees is the hardest thing,
Yeah.
because they learned early on. I shouldn't say early on, about halfway through. At about 15 years, I finally got smart and said, you know what? I'm going to hire people for culture fit.
Yes.
And, I'm also an emotional intelligence certified coach.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
emotional intelligence really plays into that. How are they going to fit? And are they going to be coachable?
Yes.
Some people are not coachable. We all
Oh
know
my
that.
God, I know it.
Right?
Yeah.
So then, you had to figure they're applying for the job because they know how to do the job.
Right, right.
But are they a culture fit, and do they have good
Right.
emotional intelligence?
Yes. Okay. And I know that you have an emotional intelligence assessment course, which I think we should drop in here because I feel like it would help a lot of people. But I've had that experience recently where it was like a perfect person, that fit exactly what I was looking for. But then when it came down to it, this person could not handle the heat. And when you're in a startup environment, it was very difficult for this person to deal with what's happening in that environment. And so I guess that's part of my culture is we're moving fast and furious. You got to jump in even if you don't know what you're doing and say, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I'm here to help. Let's go.
Right.
That was my experience. And so do you think this emotional intelligence assessment, I'm just going to drop it in the chat for our viewers here. Do you
Right.
think that this would have prevented me from hiring the wrong person?
It could have.
Yeah.
It absolutely could have. It could have let you see if that person had enough stamina or, whatever it takes.
Resiliency, I think.
Resiliency
Yeah.
and all of that, and their stress, because it
Confident.
measures stress tolerance, right? So what
Yes.
you're talking about is stress tolerance.
Stress
So
tolerance.
You're moving
Yeah.
quick. And decision making, the whole piece. So what
Right.
I tell people is, we at the company I owned, we did emotional intelligence assessments when we hired somebody. It didn't mean we didn't hire them, but at least we knew where the bombs were.
Right.
And so at least what
You
you're
could at
dealing
least
with.
manage their personality a bit and say, okay, this person likes it this particular way or has conflict with this particular thing. I'm not saying the right words, like
No,
help
you're
me.
right.
Yes. Yeah, that's the emotional assessment piece. I think is going to be really interesting, especially for my LinkedIn audience here. So anybody that's watching this that is having this struggle with their or challenge, we'll just call it a challenge instead of a struggle or an issue with their employees, hiring the right people. I definitely think this emotional intelligence assessment course that you have is going to help people out. But what you're saying is, I think, take some time now to think about what you want in 5 years, right?
Yes.
And when you talk about legacy, I mean, it sounds really good to me. I'd love to leave a legacy. That sounds great. So, what does that look like? I don't know. It's an interesting question, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because I feel like a lot of people don't even think about what the end is. They're so buried in the middle of it, just like me.
Yes, that's right. And then you get so bogged down in it, and then it's frustrating. So it's like, I always thought it was like on a merry-go-round. It's like a constant, I'm too busy to think about it, but if I don't think about it, then I'll never do it. So it's like you just have to kind of stop at some point and say, what do I really want here?
Okay.
What is that going to be?
And you did that when you bought out your brother. So that occurred to you. And then when did you start your business? So that was like 4 years in.
No, we started the business in 1991.
Oh, okay. So
I bought him out in 2007. Yeah, it had been going for a while. And I'll tell you honestly, to your point, I didn't think about it until he came to me and said, he was 11 years older than me.
Uh,
So he came to me and said, I think next year, I think I want to retire. Well, I never really thought about it until that point.
oh, wow.
But what I tell people is don't wait until it's an emergency.
Was it an emergency in that moment? Were you like, whoa, you can't leave? Or how did you feel? Like, what were you feeling when he said that to you?
I felt like it was
An
because
emergency.
I felt like it was an emergency for me because
Yeah.
he had always done the sales and the
Right.
marketing.
You're like, how am I going to
I've
do that?
never done that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Did you take over that
I
part of
did.
it?
Yes.
So you learned a totally new skill. Look at
Yes.
you go. Did you discover that you were really good at it?
I am really good at it. I was
Amazing.
really good at it, but I hated it.
Oh, I know it.
But as a business owner, I'll know,
Funny.
as a business owner, you do whatever it takes.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
I was just thinking about that, before this conversation. I was thinking, I guess what separates people that build successful businesses to people that don't is it's very risky to do what we do. You got to take risks, and those risks are scary.
Yes. Yes.
And it's very scary to take some of those big risks.
Yes.
Let's talk about your retirement. Now, how did you get roped into still doing the CFO position? Like, how did that happen?
Well, they thought they asked if I would stay just one day a week and be available. And so I said, sure, you can't just walk away from a business that you've had that long. And,
how long, when was that? And how long were you in the 1 day a week thing?
Year and a half.
I have a feeling you did more than 1 day a week.
Well, so what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to come in on Mondays. I'll be in the office on Mondays, but then during the week. Yeah. So last year, the first year after retirement, after I sold the business, I worked for them probably 20 to 25 hours a week.
Okay. That doesn't feel like retirement to me.
No, it really doesn't. But I'll tell you what. Yeah. It was on my schedule. This is what felt like retirement. It was on my schedule. I was playing tennis 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. I was, you know what I mean? I didn't have that heavy on me anymore.
Yeah. The risk, the
risk and the heavy. It's like,
the burden.
Yeah. You make the decision, and whatever you want to decide, you go for it. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's yours.
I'm to advise you now.
I'm just here to advise you.
And what advice can you give to me that, will make my journey better over the next, let's say, 5 years?
I would say, going back to the previous conversation, is that you should start thinking about what do you want it to look like. You might not know the time frame yet.
Right.
But that's okay. But think about, what is it that you really want? Do you want to sell it to somebody else? Do you want to, walk away? I've seen people do that too, where they just hang it up, take the money and walk away. Right. What does that look like? Do you want a legacy? And then go backward into your plan. Start making a plan. If I'm going to do this, like I knew I wanted legacy and I wanted to look back in 10 years at this business, how am I going to get there? What's going to take me from A to Z?
Tell us a little bit about what you offer, what your courses are, what is someone going to learn if they're going to do your course? I think this conversation is just a really great starter for people to understand what you do, but tell us a little bit about your courses.
Okay. So my course, like I said, the reason I did the course is because when I started to prepare for my succession for the sale of the business, I had no idea what to do. How do I choose a successor? How do I teach them to own a business? Are they leaders in another company, or do I have to teach them leadership? So my course steps you through how to create a culture for your business. Every culture has a culture. Might be good, might be bad.
Right.
And how do you've got that want to buy the business? Okay. How do they know how to run a business? So my course has lessons on each of those topics and a lot more that take you through my journey of what I did to take 3 people who wanted to buy the business to buying the business. Okay. Everything that is in between that you need to do. And there's a lot there.
I have learned a lot from you, Annette, just by being in this conversation and working with you. And so, anybody listening to this right now that needs a little bit of help, I'm going to drop in the chat, the comments here, the link to Annette's leadership course. And so just go check out the page, listen to what she has to say. And it's super affordable. I think how much is your leadership succession course? It's like
$897.
So for $900, you can get all of this wealth of information about how to do it, why to do it, what the steps are. And so I just really encourage you guys to check that out. But I've enjoyed our time together. If you want to stay on, we'll just say goodbye to our audience here, and you stay on because I just want to say goodbye to you. Okay? Bye, everyone. We hope you had a wonderful show today, and I hope you have a fantastic evening. Bye for now.
Bye.